So today we are going to learn what is a cloud computing. And first we will look at the definition of a cloud computing, and then we will look at the use case where we would need a cloud computer or cloud computing. So first let's start by looking at the definition from the Wikipedia. So cloud computing is the on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially data storage and computing power, without direct active management by the user. The term is generally used to describe data centers available to many users over the internet. Now, this was a Wikipedia definition. Let us just simplify this definition to our understanding. In a way, cloud computing provides resources to our application, and these resources are available 24/7, and as a user we do not manage these resources. So if your application needs more extra RAM or extra CPU, it will be available to your application, and as a user you do not go and buy those resources. That is not what you do. And cloud computing is a software system, so it's basically a software system which automatically provisions everything for you. So it automatically provisions system resources to keep your application available 24/7. So the main reason for the existence of cloud computing is the availability and scalability. So cloud computing helps every application available all the time, and it helps application scales seamlessly. Now let us look at a scenario where cloud computing is very important to us. So suppose we have a Python application and we have deployed that application on a server with 8 GB RAM and 20 GB of hard drive. Currently, our server can handle up to 100 concurrent users, and if the users are more than 100, our server does not work properly. It creates a bad user experience for the users. Generally, we have 50 or 60 users using our application, and since our application can handle 100 users, most of the time our application is working fine, and every customer is happy with our application. But for some reason, we are receiving an unexpected traffic, and we are currently having 130 or 140 concurrent users, and we do not want to stop the application, or we do not want the users to have a bad user experience. So what do we do in such a scenario where we want every user to use our application seamlessly? So there are two approaches that we could do. The first one is that we can go and buy some more servers and set it up. So for example, currently if we have one server which handles 100 concurrent users, so instead we can buy one another, and we now have two servers which handles 200 concurrent users. If the users are even more, we buy one more server, and now we can handle 300 users. But there is some drawback with this whole approach. The first is that when the users are 50 or 60, the other two servers that we have bought would be sitting idle, and that is not a good architecture, because we have servers and we are paying for those servers and they are not being used, so and they're being idle. So this approach is kind of an expensive, but again we have the complete control over our hardware, over our server that we have bought. There is an inexpensive approach, and that inexpensive approach is the cloud computing. So we go to any cloud platform, whether it be AWS, GCP, or Azure. We configure our application in such a way that whenever there is high number of users, whenever there is increased amount of traffic, we add one more server. And whenever we don't need that server anymore, we just delete that server or we deprovision them. So in cloud system, we will only pay for the servers that we have used and for that amount of time only. So for example, 90% of the time we only pay for the one server that we have, that is 8 GB of RAM and 20 GB of hard drive. But whenever there is two, or whenever there is increased amount of traffic, for example 2 hours or 3 hours, we increase more servers, we increase 2 or 3 servers, and for 2 or 3 hours we only pay for those, for that amount of time. And after our traffic is reduced to normal, we remove those servers and we do not pay for them anymore. So this is an inexpensive compared to the first approach. But the problem here is that we do not own those servers. Those servers are owned by the cloud providers, so we do not have complete control over the hardware. But it is inexpensive and it helps our application stay up all the time. So this does help our scenario, and this is why cloud computing is very popular. That it keeps the application available and it makes the application scalable. If you have any more doubts regarding what is cloud computing or why it is used, write it down in the comment and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And thank you and have a nice day.